I'm just got this really awkward part where I'm just waiting for our guest to come. So I'm just talk amongst yourselves for a little bit and see where we get to. I'm going to invite our friends in. The bakers, and they're very busy. So just I was speaking to Aaron earlier, and he just said, "Oh, I just need to pop off because I need to actually go and get my cinnamon buns out of the oven." So I'll tell you what, if he's not there in a minute, I'll come back on. These are these awkward things I reckon on Instagram Live. I think we're talking about doing it actually pre-recording these, but and I hate talking to myself, so come on guys. So we're I'm doing a series of these with chats with friends, people that we've sort of met along the totally local journey, and I thought we'd just start at home, which Triangle Bakehouse. I'll tell you what. Well, we are on time, so I'm waiting for them. Oh, let's have a look. Here they come, they're here. So I'm going to go live with Triangle Bakehouse. I was panicking there, so we're waiting for them to say hello, and here they go. Yay!
Hello.
Yeah, you had me worried then for a minute.
Just technical issues, isn't it?
We're trying to connect to it.
Sure. Just bear with me a second. So, hello. Right, we're sorted. We're off.
Cool.
So this is the first time you've done this, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And like, I'm an old hand at this. I've done it once before.
We'll go with your experience.
Yeah,
then.
we're totally reliant on you then, Chris.
Yeah. So I'd just like to introduce you both. So there's Aaron and Vic. So it's Aaron on the right, obviously, and Vic on the left, depending which way you're looking at, I suppose. Yeah. So.
Okay, so be good.
Sorry. Just 1 second, sorry.
No problem.
Down there. So our dog's just making a bit of noise. We're just getting rid of her now.
Oh.
There you go.
That sounds
in the nicest possible way.
Yeah. Not like that.
No, not like that. No.
No, definitely not.
So I sort of do a little introduction in a way. So we're doing like a series of these sort of chats. We're going to do this for years and years and years, and it's sort of, I thought, well, let's just do it and let's crack on. And I suppose Instagram Live allows that. It also allows for lots of things to go wrong. So I'm a little bit nervous when we do it, but and I thought, well, I've met so many people over the years who took a look at them, all with really, really interesting stories.
Yeah.
So I thought, what I'm going to do is start and gather those stories. So I thought, well, I've met people right around the world and right around the country. I thought, well, where will we start? I'll start at the bottom of my street. So I have to confess that I have a vested interest in this because these guys make my bread that I buy. And I can actually see out of our window whether the queue's big or short, whether the best time to run down.
I didn't realise that.
Yeah, so on a Saturday it's looking a bit, and it's raining and there's about 10 people. I thought I'll give it another 10 minutes or so before I go down there.
Yeah.
So do you want to introduce yourselves really? Yes, who you are and what you do really.
Yeah.
Go on.
So basically, I'm the baker mainly, amongst many other things. And Victoria's a baker as well as the brains and the barista and 1,000 other jobs. And I just basically we really got into making bread mainly down to Vic's Crohn's disease. She has had Crohn's disease for a number of years now, and then got really unwell several years ago now, and that sort of made us look at food a lot closer. And one of those things we looked at was bread, and we just realised how many bad ingredients there were in bread at that time.
In commercially produced bread.
In commercially produced bread, that is, yeah. So your supermarket bread, really. So we started to look at ingredients a lot more, and we tried a few things, and I was sort of quite keen to try making bread. And at the same time, actually, the handmade bakery in Slaffwaite was starting up.
Yeah.
So
or Slough,
or Slough, yeah. It depends how you want to say it. Never Slaffwaite.
yeah.
So we basically we were buying bread from there, and I just sort of thought, oh, let's have a go at doing it. And then there's a small bakery in Brighouse called Love Bread, which you probably know very well. Yeah,
a great community setup, really.
Really good community bakery, yeah. So I went on a few courses there, and after the first course, I was hooked, really. And then within 6 months, I was baking bread at the handmade bakery, which is really interesting, because to sort of start something and then get really obsessed with it so quickly, it's not really a character trait of mine, really, to do that. Right. But yeah, it's great to sort of work there and then learn how to be a baker fully. And it's just spiraled from there, really. It got to a point where I was kind of thinking, or I was wanting to try different flours, really. So we were using stone ground flour quite a lot at home. So stone ground's better because there's a lot more nutrition in it. It tastes better, and then used it in conjunction with sourdough as well. It's just a really, really good product, and it's just a really nice thing to be making. It's something that people appreciate. Yeah. Before that, I was a mechanic, and people don't like spending money on cars, especially. Whereas bread, they'll queue in the rain for bread, but they wouldn't do that for car fixing. And it sort of spiraled from there. Really, we sort of Vic's health had recovered quite a bit by that point.
But it's making that I kind of see it as like every mouthful counts in what you're eating. So for me, I struggle with digestibility of food and how much I can absorb of nutrition. So trying to make sure that everything that I eat is going to be absorbed to the maximum. And it doesn't mean that I don't want to have, lovely sweet treats and bread. It's just that if I'm going to have them, I want them to be nutritious as well. So being able to have things like sourdough and using these, things like spelt where it's more easily digestible, it means I can still enjoy treats, but in a healthful way.
Yeah.
And sometimes that I've had that sort of problems in the past myself, but sometimes I think you tend to think, well, I'm going to have to eat healthily, so I'm just going to have to lose all those tasty things, and like it's going to taste rubbish, but at least I'll feel better. And yet it's the opposite of what you guys do.
The
absolute opposite. Everything tastes amazing. And I have a friend of mine, and one of your who orders from you, and he just says, "Oh, I've got world's best bread in again today." And you are officially known as world's best bread. I'm sure that there might be somebody somewhere that's better, but but it does. And you have gone from, because I remember seeing you selling like on a Wednesday or Thursday at the local pub.
That's it, yeah.
And that's the first time I saw you, and that doesn't seem that long ago.
No.
And then
no.
And then you got your friend.
A year and a bit ago, maybe.
Well, it's 2 years since we officially started. We were already making, I suppose, bread connections for a couple of months before we officially started. So we were like, making and selling bread to our neighbours and friends. And then we opened it up to deliver to people locally around the valley.
Yeah.
And then we had collection points, and one of them being the Old Bridge pub in Ripponden. Perfect little place to go to. We were going there for a drink after our deliveries anyway. And after chatting with like Carly and Lindsay and everyone, we were like, it'd be great to do this. And Carly's like, yes, this would be fantastic. So we had a thing called bread butter here, and we'd go along with some pre-ordered loaves for people to collect, as well as some to sell. And there'd be a bread board with a bread knife, some butter, and people would just join in, and sometimes they eat their bread in the pub, sometimes just take it home for their dinner. It was really, really nice, really special kind of way to start.
We tied that in with the deliveries, pre-ordered deliveries around the valley as well to people's homes. Yeah. And that worked really well for a while, but it just got to a point where it's
not really sustainable. You're doing it
it's
for
nice,
the fun of it, but money-wise, it was definitely too expensive to spend 2 hours delivering a few loaves all the way around this valley. It's like you'd end up with one at one extreme of the sort of circle and one at the other extreme, and it took a long time to do. So we were kind of in mind that getting somewhere.
Yeah, premises in the village, ideally.
Yeah, because your name's Triangle Bakery, so
yeah,
so
yeah
people from not from the area. So
yeah.
it's quite nice. Mrs. 50s has said I can feel a column coming on. So that's Amanda, who's the Yorkshire Post feature writer. So there you go.
Hello.
That's what it's like. You can leave now. So for people that don't know, Triangle is actually a village, isn't it? Which is the next village along. That's right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And that's where our home is. Yeah.
Yeah. So Triangle is not just the shape, but obviously that's what you.
It's many things.
It's many things. It was the starting point of our name, but it means so much more to us than just location.
Explain a bit more then. Please.
So it's the 3 vital ingredients in sourdough bread for like flour, water, and salt.
Oh, right.
We think that the triangle kind of is probably quite abstract, but like a loaf rising, as well. I'm from an accountancy and maths background, so it means, something to me as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're purists. Like, the threads that we bake are very simple. We try not to add too much stuff to what we do. And like the symbol in itself is quite just very simple and plain. And we just thought, that suits us. But then when you find somewhere in Ripponden Centre and you confuse all the locals.
Yeah. And again, I think to watch how you've grown in 18 months is incredible for me, particularly. Just because I love to watch that. And you came along and you did a really great product, and you did it well. You did it in a nice place, because I might get to show the bakery a little bit, because it's such a beautiful building, and it was an old gym, wasn't it? It was a gym when you took it over.
Yeah, fitness studio. Yeah, and in fact we've been in here doing personal training with Hannah from HT Fitness. Oh my word, she put us through our paces like on spinning bikes and everything in this very room. Wow. But now we come in and we feel a lot more relaxed.
Yeah, it's a lot nicer now.
And again, Ripponden is a village that, I'd say 18 months ago, it's a commuter town, isn't it? A commuter village. Yeah. So people are not there during the day, or they weren't. And it sort of I thought I'm pretty good. I think I'm quite good at spotting a really good a good business idea. And I was thinking, I'm not sure that Ripponden's ready for an artisan baker.
No.
Honestly, like, goodness me.
People really supported us.
It's unbelievable.
Massively,
yeah.
And local businesses as well, with wholesale baking, that's going really well. And then when we can add more product lines, and one of the things with lockdown was it kind of gave us an opportunity to see whether we could afford to employ someone, because our sales went right up with everybody being around all the time. So once that went up, we were like, okay, we can afford another baker now, definitely, full time. And
it was crazy, wasn't it? When it first started, like people, as you say, it's a commuter town. People would drive up and down past our bakery, maybe sometimes several times a day, and they didn't know we were here. But because they'd had time at home in their local environment, walking around, they finally spotted us, and they were like, "This is amazing! We never knew you were here. How long have you been here?" And we're like, "Well, nearly a year now." And it's like, "Wow, we never knew. I've literally been up and down this road." So that was really special. And then the opportunity to kind of, for me, I'm the barista as well, to be able to make loads of coffees. And it's like, in our cafe, it was lovely, but it wasn't anywhere near as busy. So I was there like, bashing out coffees, sending people down the street with that nice little cozy feeling when you've got this lockdown blues and everyone's just there with their loaf of bread, their cozy cup of coffee, and they just seem to be
just making life more enjoyable at that point, I suppose.
Yeah, it was really nice.
And I've noticed, I suppose one of the biggest adverts you've got is like, particularly on a Saturday and a Sunday when you're open on Sundays, is like the massive queue that's outside. And I've got to know loads of people from the village by standing in the queue waiting.
This is an important thing about it. Is everything we do really, it's about connections.
Yeah.
As we're proving now, talking to you on this, we've made that connection with you. Yeah. You've made that connection with people in the queue. We make that connection with many other customers of ours.
And all along the food chain as well.
That goes all the way through to, we know exactly where our grain is grown. We know exactly who's milling it. and it's only sort of 2 hours away. So that's nice because you can pass that through to people, and people get a full story of what you're doing, as well as making connections with people in the queue on a rainy Saturday.
Because I mean, you were telling me that you go over to East Yorkshire, North Yorkshire to get your grains, don't you? So your grains have grown.
Yeah.
Yorkshire grains.
Yeah.
The majority of it is, yeah.
And you know where that's coming from.
Yeah, exactly. The vast majority of it is, and it's when we first started, because we weren't ordering enough flour to warrant getting a delivery, we used to take a trip up to Appleton Limor. Yeah, and we'd go up in our van and like put about 4 or 5 sacks of flour in the back. We'd just make a day trip of it, but at least we could get the flour that we knew was our most local flour, and milled and created in this wonderful organic way, and we could take that home and use that, and it's amazing. And then there's like our heritage wheat varieties and things like that. We go a little bit further afield, but most of those come from a place in Northumberland, so again not too far, and some come from Somerset. So but all of it's UK grown, organic, grown well. Lots of them lots of the farmers are doing very special things with the way they're growing as well, the environment of their farm in general. So it's all, really exciting and really wholesome.
And I've only sort of discovered that area of Yorkshire recently, and a lot of people say, oh, we don't grow things in Britain anymore. But when you're driving through that area, you hit Stamford Bridge, don't you? And then you head over towards the coast and stuff. And it's just food as far as you can see, isn't it?
Just wheats. Mainly wheats.
And beets and potato. But it's a fascinating thing. And there's a couple of breweries and even a distillery sprung up, hasn't it, on the East Coast there? So it's all tied in together. And you've got this ethos, haven't you, of your local connections. And I think that's why, for me, and we've just been chatting with the people in Burnt Island, and a bakery actually set up there during lockdown. And because they connected with the community straight away, they were accepted and they were brought in. And I think you've really done that, haven't you? And I'm out on my mountain bike quite often on the tops, and I often bump into you, don't I? Because you do a running club as well, don't you, Aaron? Is that right?
Yeah. Well, Jack, we've got 2 bakers, Tyrone and Jack.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see Jack. He's striking.
So Jack actually set up the running club. Yeah. And Jack's just started working with us as a baker in recent weeks, so we're all friends. And so he started that up, and I met Jack before we owned this place, when he volunteered with me briefly at the Handmade Bakery. And we've had that friendship since. And then once we were making that change over, I started to run a lot more with Trail Tuesday. And it's just gone from there. And like you say, we see you up on top sometimes with your bike.
We live in a very wild but beautiful place, don't we? Yeah, and we do moan about it sometimes, don't we?
Well, you've got to moan about it a little bit, haven't you? But it's a fantastic place, and if you can put up with weather, it's
beautiful.
It's fantastic, isn't it? It's great. Yeah, we love it.
So, what are you baking in the background then? Is it possible for us to see anything, or?
I can show you a little bit if I can move you around.
Go on then.
Yeah.
Let's just do this. We're really going.
Tell me if the camera angle's bad, but
we're going.
So we're finishing our sort of Wednesday bits now. Our prep. But basically, Jack, who's walking away. So Jack has just been. If I can show this, has just been loading the fridges. We basically prep all our sourdough for the next day, basically. So it's a 3-day process, but the early parts of the process are quite short until you start doing the doughs, and then you have to bulk it all up. So
can you point your camera down at the bread and stuff?
Yeah, so we have our fridges like that. That's just a little bit of this sesame, and then we've got sort of fridges sort of full like that of dough. And that just sits there, sort of cold ferments overnight, which again, it's about digestibility. It makes it so that you can, the gluten breaks down a bit, so it's easy to digest. People.
I have Ty's just got brownie.
And Tyrone's just got brownie out of the oven somewhere. Is this all right? Tell me if this is not all right.
You have to.
Yeah, we're doing brownies quite a lot more sweet things because Tyrone's really good at the sweet things.
Yeah.
So we've got a brownie down there. You can see
Oh
that.
yeah, go on, yeah.
And
So
then,
one of the things my brother-in-law is really gluten intolerant, but he can eat your bread fine.
yes, that's it. Yeah.
And so could you expand on that a little bit? Because I found that really interesting.
Yeah. So it's about. It's a good question, Chris. It's
Thank you.
about how we treat the dough. So it's made over a long process, and it's fermented for a long time. So
Do you want me to help?
yes, so, well, you can if you want to. I'm not very good at explaining things, clearly.
Well, so basically, the sourdough in itself kind of is already through the fermentation digesting.
Self-digesting. Yeah.
So it's like self-digesting. So the point where you put it in your mouth, it's already on its way to doing that. A lot of us, we don't really eat our food properly. We just kind of stick it in our mouths and swallow it. Whereas kind of that takes away a little bit of that step. But also if you're a bit more mindful and you're enjoying the flavour of what you eat, you kind of chew in a little bit more, and that also helps with that.
Yeah, because you're enjoying it more. You're not just some foods. I think people just swallow them. I'm not sure, but yes, it's and the whole point of it being fermented for a long time. So it's fermented for roughly sort of 18 to 21 hours in the fridge.
Yeah. And that
By that point, it just breaks it down so much more, so that it's just so much more easy to digest. And the other good thing about sourdough is it's all low GI as well. So you don't get the sugar spikes typical with the carbohydrates. So it's just an all round better product, and it's how historically we've always made bread. It's only in the last 100 a bit years that we've started to not make bread how it was made for thousands of years.
Yeah.
We changed that, but people realised how unhealthy that bread was. And then it was sort of like the 70s, particularly in the UK, that the whole food movement started doing more things with sourdough. I think and started learning that.
It's
Learning what we learned.
Taken a long time for it to expand so much, you know. Like an artisan bakery was a bit of a novelty like 10 years ago, and now all the way up and down the country, there's them everywhere. You should have one, you know, within a good, you know, within 10 miles of where you live. Usually, really, yeah. Yorkshire, we're spoiled.
We've got quite a few bakers watching you at the moment as well.
Oh,
possibly.
Local bakers.
I can't see what anybody's saying because we've got.
Yeah, for some reason at the bottom of our screen, it just says that Totally Locally wants you to be in this live video, and we can't do anything with it. Like the box is still sat there, so we can't see any comments or anything from anyone, which is a shame.
It's looking nice. We've had Amanda's asked where. I think Amanda's on the East Coast. I think.
Oh, right.
And she wants to know where can she buy any over there.
Well, it depends when she's on the East Coast, but
yeah, whereabouts?
I'll find out. She'll comment.
Find out. We'll let Amanda know.
And if not, I'll drop one over next time I'm over there. Yeah. But one of the things I've noticed again chatting to you guys is how there's this network of bakers, isn't there? And you all sort of and like I even noticed when you went on holiday to France, you ended up working for a baker, didn't you?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah. Well, we're drawn to the places, and we're so fortunate to meet this fantastic baker woman.
Yeah, she's like a paysan boulanger.
Oh, almost, but she doesn't grow her own.
She didn't grow her own wheat, but basically she had a 3-room house. The middle room was a bakery where she used no electricity in the process at all, apart from a solitary light bulb lighting up the room. Yeah. She had a wood-fired oven. She proved in what they call a Parisienne, which is a big cupboard, basically, where the cupboard doors fall forwards, and you slide a wooden tray out, and you put the dough in there to prove it, and then she mixed it all by hand in a wooden trough. And
we helped it with all this process, didn't we? We went there to say hello and see what she was up to. We ended up doing a 6-hour shift.
we got paid with a loaf of bread, so that was all right.
But I've noticed, like you say, I've often been in. There's been other bakers that have popped in to see stuff like that, and I think that's and it doesn't seem to be a competition thing. It seems to be a bit of a sharing of, and that's a big ethos that we have, you know.
Yeah, it is. The baking community is fantastic. If you ever have a query with something, you can't work something out, you can always ask somebody.
Yeah.
Or visit people. They're always incredibly welcoming. They'll always take you in, and even if you're just sort of hanging out with them, or obviously at the minute you can't, but you can just hang out with them.
Like limited things a little bit, but we're still socially connected on things like Instagram.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're really, really supportive. And we hear stories of people like where their fridge is broken and another baker who might even live 2 hours away will be like, I've got one spare, I'll get it down to you. Yeah. And it's so nice.
It's amazing. It's a really great community.
It's like you're almost like this army fighting against white processed bread, aren't you?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm sort of aware that that's nearly half an hour shot by already. That's crazy, isn't it?
Wow.
So, honestly, absolutely a pleasure to talk to you. There's a few people going. It says Vic and Aaron shared their sourdough starter with me. Till I'm very grateful. Chris in Todmorden.
Chris. Yeah.
You've not shared it with me.
You're always welcome to.
So I suppose a few people have been asking where they can buy it. I mean, you supply locally, don't you? I mean, that's basically it, isn't it? So you're not going any further than sort of what's your radius? Sort of.
No,
we've got quite a big radius considering.
It's sort of Colesdale, Huddersfield, I suppose. So this via us direct, you can either pre-order. You can pre-order it if you want to, or you can just turn up and get. We always have bread on the shelves. Then in Sawbrook Bridge.
We've got Artichoke. Which is the organic veg shop.
It's lovely.
He gets bread off us on Thursdays and Saturdays.
Yeah, and then we've got good old Quass, who've been with us from like the start.
Yeah, so Quass were our first customer.
They're an organic and natural wine shop in Huddersfield, who've now adapted because of coronavirus into this amazing vegetable shop as well, with lots of lovely supplies. So they have a pre-order system for that. So if you're over Huddersfield way, they're based near the viaducts and the arches.
Yeah, so they're great because they do nice wine as well. It's nice organic veg and
lovely
and nice
stuff.
bread. And then obviously we've got Joey in Halifax at Temperance.
Yeah.
And he gets bread off us Thursday, Fridays and Saturdays.
Yeah, all the days that we're baking, he gets some bread, which is
and he does great coffee. And
he's apparently got a great delivery man as well.
Oh yes, we've heard about this delivery man.
That's me.
the best delivery man in the world, I'd say.
I think so. Yeah. So I drive past the bakery on my way into work, so I pick it up and drop it off at the cafe, and then I get free coffee. So everybody's happy.
Everybody wins.
So I've got Totally Locally Hartlepool saying a lovely story, and Claire Murray says hello as well.
Oh, hello.
I know Claire very well. So,
yeah. And there's also Bernie's. We've also
further afield than that even. Sorry.
Yeah, really further afield.
In Stockport, we supply somebody called Bernie's Provisions.
In Stockport,
Stockport,
on Heaton Moor.
And he does all sorts of really nice produce.
He makes his own ferments and pickles and things like that, and he sells loads of gorgeous organic veggies. And he's got he gets our bread in as well as some treats, and then he gets things from other fantastic bakeries as well that are based more locally to him. But he was so pleased with what we were doing. And again, we've known him for a long time, so normally we wouldn't travel so far, but it's like personal connection that brought us into that.
Well, I think and on that note, I suppose we could go on forever, couldn't we, to be honest?
Yes, we usually do.
Really, really fantastic.
Thank you.
And the best thing for me is to watch that during lockdown, you ended up growing and you ended up connecting more people, and then those people haven't gone away, have they?
No.
And I think this is a lot of small businesses that once small businesses get a chance to show what they can do, like you, people never leave it, do they? And once you discover what is real food, I suppose, and real bread and all that stuff, you don't want to go back, do you? And
no.
I think you've just done you've done something really special, and you've got great neighbours in Robinson's farm shop as well. All of a sudden we had nothing, and over the last couple of years we've got, I suppose, it starts to create a different feel and a different to a town, doesn't it? And it changes how people are. And I think
it does, It makes it more appealing for everybody, and the thing with local small businesses is that they've proved through lockdown that they do more than anyone for everyone.
Absolutely.
They're just so much more. It's obviously more personable, and you're just everyone's doing a good thing by supporting one another throughout the valleys around the Calder Valley and beyond.
I wish we could have done more during lockdown, but we were kind of limited by manpower to some extent. But
Yeah.
you know, we'd have loved to be able to deliver to people and things like that, but we just didn't have any spare time.
Yeah, we did it for people who were isolating during lockdown.
Yes, I know that. Yeah, which is again fantastic, isn't it? When people really couldn't get to that, you know.
Yeah.
Do you want to share your website and then?
So our website is trianglebakehouse.co.uk, and we're going to be that's going to be developed soon into a really new one. But at the moment, it's still just a little web shop. But you can go on there and you can see our produce. You can see the ingredients that are in there. We think it's really important that there's transparency in what the products are. And it's good.
Well, thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed that actually. So thank you. And I'll probably see you tomorrow picking up the bread on the bread.
Yeah, see you tomorrow.
See you then, Chris. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Thanks for
lovely.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you, everybody. See you later.
Thank you, everybody. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, bye.
Take care, bye.
Bye. And if you want to recommend anyone to have one of these chats, I'd love you to do so. So please just message.
I'll have a look now. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Take care. Thank you. Bye.